and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not looking at journals or white papers. Our sources are a series of interconnected audio excerpts.
That's right. They're like a pressurized snapshot of life, really, right at the breaking point.
And our mission today is to analyze this intersection of, on the one hand, systemic professional strain, and on the other, this really intense personal crisis.
Exactly. We have two key figures here. A dedicated healthcare professional who is just dealing with these overwhelming demands at work, and then a young man who's kind of forced into this pivotal moment of self-reflection.
Yeah, and illness just stops his life for a moment.
And everything comes into question.
So we're pulling out insights from, a whole bunch of interwoven storylines. There's this deep professional strain at a local surgery, frantic family logistics, a nasty Norovirus recovery.
And even a planned deck-the-hall family outing in the middle of all of it.
Right. And it's all set against the backdrop of this huge life-defining decision this young man has to make about a year abroad. It's chaotic, but it shows so clearly how external pressure can force a total internal audit.
I think we should start with the professional side, because the environment this doctor is in is, well, it's beyond just busy. It feels like it's being intentionally stretched to its absolute limit.
Okay, let's scrutinize this. The surgery partners are consulting on what they call, and this is such a neutral phrase, widening patient contact opportunities.
Oh, it's classic corporate speak. Sounds positive.
It sounds like a marketing slogan, but when you zoom in, it just translates to extending surgery hours.
Yeah.
Potentially 2 evenings a week.
And here's where the systemic failure is. It's built right into the plan. The salary doctors are just expected to absorb that extra time, not through paid overtime.
No, of course not.
But by banking time off in lieu.
Which, given the workload we're already seeing in these sources, is basically phantom compensation. It's never going to happen.
Precisely. The doctor herself notes that the likelihood of actually getting to take that time off is incredibly low. It's a strategy you see all the time in stretched public services. Maximize the output, increase the hours, but keep the labor cost flat.
And it all operates on this flawed assumption of just, unlimited staff resilience.
And the second that resilience is tested, the whole thing just collapses, which is exactly what we see happen.
Right, the immediate staffing crisis. Dr. Lang calls in sick, and suddenly the system has zero redundancy. Our doctor and Dr. Cartwright have to just split all of Lang's appointments between them.
The operational chaos is instantaneous, and it's measurable. Appointments start running almost an hour behind schedule. We hear about a 10.05 appointment being seen, closer to 11 boro?
Or even later. And when a system is running at 150% capacity, mistakes aren't just possible, they're guaranteed.
And that inefficiency creates so much friction.
Yeah.
We get that really powerful, specific detail about the patient imaging.
Yeah, the administrative error. The patient had the ultrasound done at Felpush and Royal, which was correct. But under all that pressure, someone chased Buchester General for the results instead.
So the patient's appointment, the time they took to come in, it's all just a complete waste of time.
I find that error so compelling. It's not some huge, dramatic surgical mistake. It's a simple logistical failure. And that's the kind of thing that burns people out faster than anything.
Absolutely. The doctor has to manage the fallout. She has to listen to the patient's complete life story and then apologize for a mistake that wasn't even hers.
All while knowing she's still an hour behind.
It's the perfect example of how administrative failure lands directly on the frontline provider. They absorb all of it, the anger, the frustration, the consequences.
And what's fascinating is the contrast with the home front. While the professional world is imploding, at home you see this simple, reliable community support. Often from the doctor's father, Acra Malik.
Yes, he's stepping into these unexpected roles. The source says he's now delivering prescriptions because the local pharmacy was in a hole.
He just likes to keep occupied.
Right, and that juxtaposition is so sharp. The major systems are failing, but the local community, one person at a time, just steps up to handle the basics. He's providing a reliable service while the professional surgery is in utter chaos.
It paints this picture of, competence in the family sphere versus this incredible strain in the professional one. Let's pivot to that family side, specifically this norovirus recovery.
The illness, ironically, it acts as a kind of forced time out for everyone.
Yeah, for Josh and Lily, they're far enough along to try what they call a joint experiment.
The rice experiment.
The rice experiment. Just trying to keep down plain white rice to see if they've turned the corner. The language is so buoyant, you know? They feel like they're halfway up the home straight.
That relief is powerful, but you also see the different pace of recovery. Paul is still completely out of commission.
Oh yeah, described as lounging on the sofa and moaning.
Just pulling the duvet over his head. He's the embodiment of that lingering drain, and it's such a deep contrast with the doctor, who has no luxury whatsoever of checking out like that.
But the fact that Josh and Lily are getting better is a huge relief, specifically because it means Josh should be okay to fly next week. And this connects directly to the huge decision he's been wrestling with.
That forced pause, those few days where flying was just medically impossible, it created the space he needed to rethink everything.
Yeah, before we get to his internal audit, there's that little subplot about Nina.
Oh, right. The friend who's a no-show for the afternoon visit after having a heavy one after the gig.
It seems like a minor thing, but it just adds to this wider theme of unreliability. The surgery is unreliable, the friend is unreliable. Everything outside the immediate family just feels so fragile.
And that fragility sets the perfect stage for Josh's big reconsideration. When the world feels chaotic, he's forced to ask if his plan to embrace more chaos is actually a good idea.
And this is where he delivers the punch. He admits that, when he was sick, the idea of delaying or canceling the flight, he didn't hate the idea.
And that's a huge admission. If you're not miserable about canceling a major life event, why were you doing it in the first place? He starts to question his core motivation.
Is he doing this massive trip purely out of rebellion? Just to, as he puts it, put two fingers up to Mom and Freddie.
Yeah, that raw thought, so long, suckers. It shows he's worried his primary driver isn't exploration, it's just escape. And if you're just escaping, the foundation of the whole trip is weak.
This self-doubt then immediately spills over onto his traveling partner, Mason.
Introducing the Archer's Mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information and to order your very own The Archers mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
He says he thinks he might have been burying my gut feelings about him.
The illness brought it all to the surface. And there are 2 big strikes against Mason that Josh now sees clearly. First, the academic worry.
Right, he found out Mason had barely scraped a 3rd in his degree. Which, raises questions about his focus, his reliability.
But the second strike is much deeper, more psychological. Josh wonders if Mason is actually running away from disappointed parents.
Which would mean they're not 2 friends seeking adventure. They're 2 fugitives seeking distraction.
Exactly. And Josh has to ask himself, do I want someone running from failure to be my guide to a whole new country? It's almost like he's projecting his own fears onto Mason.
And the practicalities just confirm it. The logistical arrangements are, shockingly fragile.
Completely. Josh notes he doesn't have accommodation firmly booked. Mason had just said they could stay with some mates of his.
Which Josh correctly identifies as not a firm arrangement. The whole plan is built on wishful thinking.
This whole internal monologue, it gets connected back to a conversation he'd had about setting up on his own. The illness, seeing his family's self-sufficiency, it's all forcing him to confront what real independence looks like.
It's not just getting on a plane.
No, it's about being responsible, being grounded in your motivations.
But these profound personal doubts are just terrifyingly overshadowed by a crisis that brings the doctor's professional strain to its absolute head. The pressure cooker finally explodes.
This is the definitive crisis point at the surgery. It involves the 11.00 appointment, Lawrence Harrington. He was originally scheduled to see the sick Dr. Lang.
And Harrington just refuses the situation. He won't accept the delay, and more importantly, he refuses to see the doctor assigned him. He demands to see Dr. Cartwright.
So Lottie, the receptionist, tries to explain the situation, that everything's running late, patients have been redistributed, and Harrington just escalates immediately.
The language is just appalling abuse.
Yeah.
He calls her clearly completely incompetent.
And then sneers, "No need to ask how you got this job."
He's being actively prejudiced, using her position to try and validate his refusal of care.
So the doctor has to step in. She tries to de-escalate, telling him he needs to moderate his voice.
It's a professional intervention, just trying to maintain order.
And in that moment of direct confrontation, as she's saying, if you could just moderate your voice, he loses consciousness. He just collapses.
Yeah.
Right there. The shift is instant. From dealing with abuse to initiating life-saving care, the doctor calls for the resus pack, for oxygen, the defibrillator. Lottie is calling an ambulance.
It's a remarkable display of professional duty, completely overriding any personal feeling. She has to save the life of the person who, seconds before, was trying to destroy her colleague's self-esteem.
And the emotional devastation afterward is immense. Her child calls her a total hero, but the doctor just feels completely wrung out. She looks awful. Heroism is exhausting.
And here's where that identity link adds such a cruel layer of irony. Only afterward does she realize the patient was Lawrence Harrington, the man they all had that trouble with from the local cricket scene.
Which confirms it. His prejudice wasn't random. It explains exactly why he didn't want me to treat him.
The professional toll of that realization is just staggering. You've provided heroic, life-saving care to someone who was actively trying to deny you the chance to do so because of who you are.
Yet despite the horror of it all, her overwhelming internal thought, her priority, is about her professional standard.
Absolutely. The medical outcome is grave. Harrington went into cardiac arrest in the ambulance. He's in intensive care. It could go either way.
But the doctor's final thought on it is, "I did everything I could for him."
That one phrase, it feels like a psychological survival mechanism. She's focusing on her competence, her duty, the things he couldn't take from her.
This whole event is a potent synthesis of the episode's themes. The professional burnout, fueled by a lack of resources and abusive, prejudiced patients, it directly feeds this profound personal doubt.
We've seen the sheer weight of that professional duty and the consequences of the systemic strain laid bare. She's a hero, but the price of that heroism is a fundamental questioning of her entire life path.
The stress of dealing not just with the workload, but with that sustained prejudice, it forces the most fundamental question about her family's future.
And that brings us to the final incredibly charged statement we have in the sources. The doctor is driving home, and she's wondering if she and her family would all be better off in Pakistan.
And that is the ultimate question, isn't it? It's born of exhaustion and alienation. It's not just about overtime anymore. It's a realization that the immense sacrifices she's making might not be worth the cost.
It makes you wonder, when the stress of being constantly challenged and undermined becomes so overwhelming, does it force you to completely reconsider where home even is? What sacrifices are simply too great for a community that doesn't fully value you? That question of where belonging lies when professional duty clashes with identity, it's something powerful for you to continue mulling over.
Indeed. We have certainly run the full gamut of crises today. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So, what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep. That's,
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
yep. That's the ball bar. That's.
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever